This build is the last of my series of Void builds with Slayer's Fang, and it is by far the tankiest because of course that's what Titans do. This build has so much volatility and so much healing and so many sources of Overshield that it is really hard to be killed. You can see here, a few seconds in, and we've already just destroyed both these crowds. The reason for this is we were using Controlled Demolition from the Titan kit. That's an aspect, which makes all of our abilities inflict volatile. We're also getting volatile rounds every time we get a grenade kill, which makes all these shotgun shrapnel shots volatile. And just between Slayer's Fang and this exotic that we're using, no backup plans, it is really just extremely easy. The more dense the enemies are, the better off you're going to be. As long as you can keep killing, you really can't die. And it is just great. The shotgun hits pretty hard and been really surprisingly good. I've been enjoying it a lot. You can see it just chunks this mini boss's health down, and we have a good super too. If that sounds good to you, let's get into the build. I'm Engineer. So first we want to talk about Slayer's Fang. This is our new exotic shotgun. It is a slug frame shotgun, so it fires one round and you actually are going to need to aim it instead of just relying on the spread. But once you kill an enemy, then when you hit an enemy with your shotgun shot, it's going to ricochet, and those ricochet rounds are going to inflict weaken on enemies, which is really good. You get a very easy way to get weaken, which normally you can only get from grenades on Titan, and that's just not as great. On top of that too, has some catalyst perks. We have Repulsor Brace, which seems a little bit redundant with the Titan kit, and especially the exotic we're using that will give us Overshield a lot. You have Stats for All and Loose Change, which are both pretty much just stat boosting or reload perks. So what we're going to go for is something that gives us a little bit more DPS, and that's Cascade Point. So once you either get a kill or precision hits, it will increase your rate of fire so that you can hit faster, and that's just pretty good. If you do want to just go overkill with it, the Repulsor Brace is really not a bad option. Now the one thing to note about Slayer's Fang is it does not have a lot of ammo, and it will burn through that ammo pretty fast if you were slaying out. So ammo economy is a major weakness that you're going to want to compensate for. As for other weapons, use Void Heavy. Machine guns are nice, rockets are nice, grenade launchers, whatever. Just find one that works well for you and the activity you're doing, and we just want to match Void because that's what we're building into. Moving over to our exotic, we're using the no backup plans. This is probably the most obvious option for Void Titan because it is the shotgun exotic and it only works on Void. Specifically, you have to have a Void super equipped in order to get the Void Overshield and the health regeneration back after you kill certain enemies. So makes a lot of sense on Void. It's a shotgun exotic if we were using a shotgun. Now, what does this exotic do? So while you have Void Overshield, your shotguns do 35% more damage, which is crazy, stacked on top of the weaken effect, which is 15% more damage. Your shotgun kills are also going to refresh your Void Overshield, and that's really good because that's once again all we're doing. And then when you have a Void super equipped, as you kill a certain amount of enemies, you have to get 3 points, which is 3 basic enemies or some bigger stuff in there. You'll get a Void Overshield and begin health regeneration. So it's a pretty straightforward gameplay loop. Get Overshields, do more damage. Kill enemies, get more Overshield, do more damage. Where do you get this exotic? You need to own Beyond Light, and then you can get it from Rahul's Novel Decryption. That's his 4th tab. After you do a full reset, or Vex Strike Force on Neomuno. Your stat priorities, you want Resilience, you want Discipline, then Strength, then Recovery, and Intellect. On our aspects and abilities, the first aspect we want to take is Offensive Bulwark. This buffs our ability regen pretty considerably as long as we have Void Overshield, which we do. You're getting plus 400% base grenade regen rate, and you get plus 100% increased melee damage, which is just really good. We're also going to be getting Devour from our Fragments, so that on top of the great grenade regen rate will just have you throw grenades constantly, and those will help us get the volatile rounds. Now for our second aspect, we're going to take Controlled Demolition. Now, whenever I think of Controlled Demolition, I think of the fact that it gives your Void abilities volatile detonations just naturally, and that's really good. But the other part of it that I like is that whenever you trigger a volatile explosion, you will restore 90 of your hit points, which is a little less than half, and it's not just for you, but you and your allies. So between volatile rounds and all of our abilities, we're going to be healing constantly while Overshields constantly. We're just very tanky. For your super, you can take Sentinel Shield if you want a roaming super, or Twilight Arsenal. Both are great. This is very minor, but you can take Ward of Dawn, and there's a kind of fun thing where the ricochet rounds of Slayer's Fang will bounce around in there, but it's really hard to get an enemy actually in the bubble enough to do that to them, but it is kind of neat. On your grenade, I like magnetic grenade or scatter grenade, usually magnetic grenade because it's pretty solid for getting the enemy kills so that you can activate those volatile rounds. The nice thing about these two is they also have the fastest cooldowns for void grenades, and they thus have a 75% flak factor. For your melee, I like shield throw because it's quick and it doesn't take you out of the action very long, so you can keep shotgunning. Shield Bash is also good and gives you some mobility though. Both have a 90% flak gain factor, so not a lot of worries there. Your class ability is pretty flexible. Rally Barricade has a short cooldown. Towering Barricade's a little bit more defense, but longer cooldown. Moving over to our fragments, the first one is Echo of Starvation, because that gives you Devour when you pick up an orb or a Void Breach, and we will do both of those a lot. The second one that's very important is Echo of Instability, because you get volatile rounds every time you get a grenade kill. You get that for 11 seconds, which is very solid and will help us proc that Controlled Demolition and just do crazy AoE because of the ricochets off of Slayer's Fang. Our next two fragments are Echo of Harvest and Echo of Cessation. Harvest will give you a Void Breach and an orb when you kill a weakened enemy, and Cessation will give you a Void Breach when you kill a volatile enemy, and also applies Volatile to nearby enemies when you do a finisher. Both these have a 10-second cooldown, but really great ways to get Void Breaches. Void Breaches also refresh Nightsworn's Sight on Slayer's Fang, which is just invaluable, and these will reproc that Echo of Starvation Devour, so they also will heal you. Some honorable mentions: Echo of Persistence is pretty good. It'll make your Devour and your Overshield last longer. If I had one more fragment slot, this is definitely one to take. Echo of Reprisal is pretty good too for getting some super energy. If you want to go all in on those roaming supers with Sentinel Shield, this is a great way to max that out even more. Now, the one fragment that's kind of missing here that I usually have in all void builds is Echo of Undermining, which is the grenade's weakening effect, but that has a -20 discipline penalty. Because Slayer's Fang weakens so much, this finally frees us up from using that, gives us a lot more flexibility. Moving over to mods and armor stats. As I mentioned before, we need to manage the ammo economy of Slayer's Fang, so the main focus here is Special Finisher. But on top of that, because we're such a weapon-focused build, we want Void Weapon Surges, so we're going to have 2 of those. So, to manage both of those, because they both use armor charges, we want to have Time Dilation to make armor charges last 15 seconds as they're decaying from Void Weapon Surge. We want stacks on stacks, so every orb will give us 2 armor charges. And then we want charged up so we can get up to 4 armor charges. Special Finisher uses 3 armor charges when you do that finisher. With 4 armor charges, we'll still have 1 left over, which is going to be about 15 seconds of leeway to get another orb or an armor charge from some other way. On top of that, we're going to be getting grenade kills, so we're going to have firepower, we're going to have ashes to assets. We also want to make orbs with our weapon kills, so Harmonic Siphon. Beyond that, you want to take some stuff just to buff up weapon use, so you could take Harmonic Loader or Void Loader. And then if you're using the roaming super, I always recommend Power Preservation because it'll make extra orbs on every kill with your super. Those are for your teammates, but they're just really great. In team play, it's a lot of orbs. It's going to help out quite a bit. You may be thinking because of the ammo issues about ammo finders, but Special Ammo Finder will progress very slowly while using a special weapon. And because we get so many kills with Volatile, not the actual shotgun itself, it's not going to progress very far. All the ability kills will actually steal kills from you for Special Ammo Finders because they only progress on weapon kills, and Special Ammo Finder bricks are pretty small, so just generally not very worth it. On our stats, we want maximum resilience, we want maximum discipline, get a little bit of strength, and then just get recovery in like to 30 because we're going to cover our healing from other sources. Briefly want to talk about artifact perks. These will be invalid in about 3 weeks, so don't worry about these too much, but generally just take the void ones. These are the ones boxed in purple. These will produce more void breaches, give you other sources of Devour, and give you some extra effects. The coolest one is the bottom right one, which after you collect a void breach will create a little portal that shoots out little projectiles at enemies, and it's just good extra damage and sometimes staggers enemies. The 2 that I've kind of boxed in green here are Thick of It, which gives armor charges while you're getting kills while surrounded by enemies, and Curative Orbs, which will make an orb every time you break a shield. And that's just really great and really synergizes with the shotgun build. Now, once again, just doing a longer gameplay clip. This is the opening of Tomb of Elders. It's chaotic, there's a lot of enemies, and it's meant for 3 players, so doing it solo is a good test of survivability, I've found. Pretty straightforward. Try and get those grenade kills every time it's up. But just generally just keep using your shotgun to keep getting that overshield back and keep healing. See, crowds of enemies just popping. If you don't have volatile rounds for some reason, you can throw your shield, you can use your grenade, and just proc that. You see this Bane enemy here, we put a grenade on him, and then we just shotgun. Honestly, the hardest thing I find with this is I'm alive, but I'm getting shot so much, so I'm getting flinched, so I just have to make sure I'm still hitting my shots while being jumped around and hit and all that stuff. They're not killing me, but it's just, there's a lot to juggle. You can see they're making a lot of orbs here. Between the weapon kills and the Echo of Harvest, we're just making as many as we can. Sometimes if you need to get that finisher, you're going to need to switch to a primary weapon and just weaken an enemy just enough. Once again, do those finishers as often as possible so you can get that ammo. Prisoner here, we're a little bit low, but just instantly full health and overshield. So we've gone from almost nothing to very full. I'm using Sentinel Shield here. It's great for groups, and just watch how many orbs are being made. It's just an absurd amount. Working on the boss already. Also just taking a lot of fire. Very close to dying here, but still making it somehow. Once again, every orb, every void breach is a free heal for you. And then if you can secure a kill, you're gonna just heal up a lot. This run's worked out pretty well. I don't think I've actually had to touch my heavy weapon at all. See, I actually sneak up on the boss here and just hit him right into his back crit spot like 3 times. More finisher to get some ammo. Just finish off a few of these guys. The ricochets are really good at homing in on enemies, so you'll get a lot of extra kills out of stuff. And you just see, take your time, fire those shots at the head, and that's it. So just to summarize that gameplay loop, throw your grenade when it's up and we'll kill something so you get volatile rounds. Shotgun everything, try and line up your shots for ricochets, try and put a wall behind an enemy or just some kind of object so those rounds can hit more things. They will generally aim towards enemies, which is great. Throw your melee as needed, it's extra overshield and can also proc some extra volatile. And then just use special finisher whenever possible. Your super is there for whatever you need. You can use it to take out bosses, you can use it for extra survivability because of the massive damage resistance. But it's just gonna be good. And with controlled demolition, Sentinel Shield is gonna have crazy AoE because it will get that volatile on top of everything. So it'll do pretty great. For that, that's pretty much all I've got for the build. Hope you've enjoyed this series of Slayer's Fang builds. They've been a lot of fun. It's all I've played lately. I really like this weapon. I'm gonna start thinking about maybe some other subclasses it might slot into. Hopefully soon here we hear about Heresy and what's coming with that. And that'll start getting the juices flowing for new builds. Once again, I appreciate all the support on the channel, all the new subscribers and all the views. Hope you like the content. Let me know if you have questions. I like responding to things. And I also have a Discord if you want to come just chat about builds or see what I'm working on. I also have all my guides, tools, and resources there as well if you want to refer to them. For that, I'll let you go. Thanks for watching.